Hey, Grace Life Church family. Pastor Jeremy here. It's Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. It's election day here in the United States. Most of you all know that. Probably a lot of you have already voted. Maybe you voted early. Some of you have probably already gone today. I know that I exercised my freedom to go and vote this morning along with my wife, Barbara. I want to encourage you, if you haven't voted yet today, maybe you're undecided of whether if you're even going to go in and vote, to do that. I'm not commanding you to do it. I don't think it's an absolute obligation as a Christian that you have to vote, but I do think that it's an opportunity. And I know that when God entrusts something to us, then we have a responsibility to steward it well. And we happen to live in a country and a governmental system that we all have a voice in who is elected as our leaders. We have a responsibility to pray for our leaders, to ask for God's guidance for our leaders locally here in our own communities and state and nationally as well. I think there's a lot of important issues at stake today and in the near future for our country. And I absolutely believe that it's the church who's going to lead the path forward. No single person, no government is going to bring peace, stability, light, and truth to this world. God alone brings that, and He has chosen the church to be the avenue by which we share the good news, by which we accurately represent Christ to the world and bring His light into the world. That's my responsibility. That's yours as well as the church. But just want to encourage you, there's still time. Find your local voting place. If you hear any bumps here in the video, it's because I'm sitting at Christ Life Church, and we are a polling location for the city of Columbia Heights. So we have people coming here today. Would you join me in praying for your local polling place and for the church here as well as people come in? One, that they would just be blessed in the presence of our church and what goes on here on a weekly basis. And that also that their minds would be moved to truth and that they would vote along good moral principles. But the life's going to continue after today. Yeah, maybe there's some shifts of names of who's sitting in government, but now is just as important of a time as any for us to know how to be accurately representing Christ through our love, His love for the world. I want to draw your attention back to this last Sunday. Maybe you didn't see it. Maybe you couldn't join us online. If you were here at church, we handed out these laminated little posters called Who is My Neighbor? It's your neighbor grid, it's your block grid to map out who lives around you, literally, physically around your home, your apartment, wherever it is you live. I want you to encourage you not only to use that, but to embrace the idea that maybe because of the election, there's going to be some people who are frustrated, disappointed, maybe even literally afraid about what the future holds. One of the main tactics of the enemy is to divide us, to make us feel like we're separate, we're individual, we're all on our own, and other people won't understand us, or maybe are even against us. I know there's some restrictions with social gatherings. We want to be careful in light of COVID right now. But God has placed you as a neighbor to the people around you. And maybe especially now in this election season and the results of today, whenever we ultimately find those out, maybe your neighbors just need to know that there's somebody by them who cares. Maybe you completely disagree with them in their political viewpoint, their worldview, main issues of morals. You can still be a person of peace who comes into their life, who listens, who takes a posture of learning from them. Why do they believe what they believe? What are their fears? What are their frustrations in our communities and in our government? And just maybe God will open a door of opportunity for you to then be able to share, to show respect, to show that you can mutually talk together and respect them and value them as a person, as a family, as someone in your community. And I think There's all these rumors of unrest that will happen. I think we can create stability locally by each one of us choosing to be a good, godly, loving neighbor. I think, like I said, now is just as good a time as any for us to know how to truly, in a Christ-like sense, be good neighbors. If you don't have this, I want to attach a link to the PDF file onto this video. So if you open this up in YouTube, you should be able to look at the information section and see a link to this. You can print it out. We have a bunch of them here at the church that are laminated, a little more durable. If you want to reach out to me, you can text me, you can call me. We want to make sure and get one of these in your hands, or show up here at church and we'll have one for you. One last thing before I sign off for today, just give you a heads up about this next weekend. So it's that time of year where some of us crazy people like to go sit in a tree stand on the side of a tree and pretend that we know how to find animals in the woods. And so I'm going to be out with some of my extended family deer hunting this weekend. We have the privilege of having Reverend Mark Clemmy, one of our main elders, ordained pastor in the conference. He is going to be preaching this Sunday. He's going to continue in the series on the parables of Christ. So you won't want to miss that. Tune in online or be here in person. Sunday, 10 o'clock. We'll go back to our just 1 hour block for service from 10 to 11. And you won't want to miss that. I just pray God's peace and wisdom on you today. Again, if you haven't voted, I encourage you to go ahead and do that. But above all, let His love shine through you today. Be the best Spirit-filled neighbor you can possibly be. God bless.